Hi, girls. I hope you're enjoying your time at home. We have uncertainty about exams, but still we can't stop preparing for our board exams. So, some of you have requested me to give me a recorded lesson on this chapter. So, here we go. So, this is Unit 3, and in Unit 3, we have we have different chapters, and chapter 5 says primary activities, chapter 6 is secondary activities, and chapter 7 is tertiary activities. According to your reduced syllabus, chapter 5 and chapter 7 are in the syllabus. Chapter 6 is deleted from the syllabus, so I'm not uploading a video on that. So let's start with human activities. Human activities. What are human activities? First of all, let me explain you. So we human beings have to do some kind of economic activity to earn a livelihood. That means to get some income so that we can take care of ourselves, our needs, and needs of the family and live a decent life. So anything that human beings do, any activity that human beings do to generate income is called as human activity. So the activities done by human beings to generate income are called as economic activities. Now, in economic activities, the first and the most important economic activity is primary activity. What is a primary activity? A primary activity is the activity where human beings are directly related with the nature. Like here, they are not doing anything outside the nature. They are plowing the field, depending on the rain, fishing, lumbering, hunting, mining. In all these areas, human beings are directly interacting with the nature, and human beings are dependent on the bounties of nature. So nothing in the industries is done here. Everything is done with the interaction of the nature. So what are primary activities? The activities which are related to the bounties of nature are called as primary activities. Okay, so let's start with primary activity number 1. Primary activity number 1 is hunting and gathering. Uh, Primitive people, the people who are living in forest areas, are called as primitive people. Primitive people do not have access to industrialization or urbanization. These people still interact with nature and collect their food from the nature, and these activities are called as this kind of activity is called as hunting and gathering. In hunting and gathering, man is immediately dependent on environment and also on the animals. They gather the stuff. It is done by primitive societies. It generally involves hunting, gathering. Gathering is just going to the forest and collecting, and fishing. It is oldest occupation, and even in this case the shelter and clothing is collected from the trees, from the bark of the trees, leaves, all that is used. It is practiced in either high altitude areas where tribal people live, like in Eurasia and Chile. It is also practiced in the forest of Amazon. In Africa it is in Congo, and in Southeast Asian countries in Malaysia and Indonesia. And what do? uh, they collect the material, and nowadays this material is even sold in the modern market. Some people in modern market look for the leaves and the bark and the nuts and the fiber, all that which is coming from primitive societies. So what you have to remember here is all the highlighted part, that this is the oldest occupation done by primitive people. They interact with environment, collect their food. Second primary activity is pastoralism. Pastoralism word talks about rearing of animals. So when animals are reared in large number, it is called as pastoralism. Pastoralism is of various types, and the first type of pastoralism is nomadic herding. The word nomad says when people move with their cattle from one place to another place, it's called as nomadic herding. You might have heard the word nomad. There are so many music groups also which are called as nomads, where people move from one place to another place. I've seen so many people keeping their bio as a nomad, a person who moves from one place to another place. That is called as a nomad. So herding is group of animals. So when animals are kept in herds for food, transport, shelter, and clothing. This kind of process is called as nomadic herding. The most important thing about this is people move from one place to another place. They don't have a fixed place. So you see here, animals are reared like sheep, and people are transporting their tents and the houses and the bamboo sticks and the clothes and everything on camels. And wherever they find good green area, they put their tents over there and stay there for some time till the animals are grazing upon the grass. Once the grass is over, they shift to another area. So that's why this is called as nomadic herding, where people move from one place to another place. Where is it done? It's done in Sahara, where desert areas are there and water is very less. So people move in search of water also. Sheep, goat, camel is taken into account for herding. It's done in Tibet, also in Mongolia, where yak is reared. It's done in Andes in South America, where llamas are reared. Llamas are like camel, small camel type, but they have a lot of hair. Then it is done in Arctic region also, where reindeers are reared, okay, like in Eskimos and all. So the areas are same. You can learn the areas from here only. It's fine. Transhumance is part of nomadic herding. That is why it doesn't have another herding. Transhumance is when people move with their cattle when the season changes. Okay, so for example, if people are living here in this area and this area has got snowfall, so the whole area is covered with the snow. Now because of the snow, there is no grass, so people have to move from here to different areas. This is called as transhumance. Because of seasonal change, people move with their cattle from one place to another place, and when the season is over, when this area becomes again green, they will come back from the plain areas to this area. So they'll move back to the region. That is called as transhumance. So what is it? What is transhumance? Seasonal movement of people along with their herds to mountains in summers and to plains in winters. So in winters they will move down and in summers they will move back, like that. Like Gujars in India, Bakarwals, Gaddis, Bhotias are example of transhumance. This is very important. You have to learn it very nicely.